Good evening, CFT Nation. We are back for another episode, episode 10, actually, and we are here, trudge through the snow to give the viewers what they wanted. So, Wendy, it's episode 10. How are you feeling about episode 10?
It's a really interesting show that we have planned. It's worth the drive here in the snow. It's actually kind of cool to look out the window here in the Arctic tundra.
It's actually episode 9. I'm getting ahead of ourselves.
I wasn't going to correct you, but
Well,
I do think it's 9 according to
Hey,
my script.
I make mistakes and I can admit when I'm wrong. So it's episode 9. All right. So you ready to get started? Dig in?
Yes.
All right. So episode 9, as we said, we are going to talk through Kinda-Sorta-Qualified.
Kinda-Sorta-Qualified. There was some interest about this. People were trying to guess today as I was walking around the building.
Were they?
Mm-hmm.
Did you give them any hints?
I did not. I said it's
Okay,
a
good.
teaser for a reason.
That's funny. So what are we going to talk about tonight with Kinda-Sorta-Qualified?
Well, job openings and the people that are filling them, specifically substitutes.
Right. It's a big topic.
Mhm.
A lot of substitutes, a lot of job openings. Let's talk a little bit before we get started on the main segment. Tiffany Pierce, the CBO, Chief Business Officer and Director of Recruitment and Retention.
Mhm.
She's also was a former alderwoman in the city.
Yes,
I think that kind of changed over recently.
I believe so too.
Yeah. So what does she do for the district?
From what I understand, she is responsible for interviewing candidates, making job offers, really just anything recruitment related.
Recruitment and retention.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're going to talk about her later in the show as being the manager exempt position over recruitment and retention. We'll talk about her later. But before we get into the main topic, we got to kind of lay the groundwork. We got to give a little information on some phrases we're going to be using so that people, our viewers, understand what we're going to talk about. So,
So the first one is a permanent sub.
right.
And permanent subs are people who you hire basically to work every single day.
Mhm.
And they come in and they fill in for a teacher who is either out on some sort of leave for a long-term reason, or they might even fill in if you don't have a teacher.
Right. As far as qualifications go, it's pretty complicated on what you need to have or not have minimum versus what you can have. So we're really not going to get into it. I guess what I'll say around the qualifications is you can be a licensed teacher and be a permanent sub, but you also can have a lot less qualifications and no actual teacher licensure, normal teacher licensure as it relates to teaching. But we really don't want to get into all that because it's super complicated. So we talked about permanent sub. In your district, what is a floater substitute?
A floater is just somebody that is hired to fill in a day here, a day there, wherever there's an absence. So a teacher is out for whatever reason, and they will just be assigned to cover that classroom for a day or two, just depending.
Okay.
And I was a floater sub a long time ago.
Okay. As far as a floater sub, though, you could be a permanent sub, show up to work every day, but also be a floater where you're in your class one day, you're in somebody else's class the next day, math, science. You don't have a permanent assignment that you go to and teach every day.
Correct. And some of our floaters are permanent subs and some are part-time.
Okay. And some permanent subs also teach every day in the same class.
They do.
Okay. So for instance, a third grade teacher at an elementary school in your district could be a permanent sub.
Could be.
Okay. And then the last kind of thing we want people to know before we kind of dig into this is, what is the retiree return to work program?
It's a relatively new program.
Okay.
In Illinois, if you retired as a teacher, you couldn't just come back and work every day. There were limits
Mhm.
that were put in place to prevent that from happening. But under this newish program. Teachers that are retired can come back, and in certain high needs areas, they can work almost the whole year.
They can work the whole year. Yeah. Yeah, they waived the limits on collecting a pension and working for some high needs areas, and that is what your retiree return to work program is. They basically take retirees from Cahokia, let's say a special ed teacher, retired last year. They bring that person back this year to fill an open position. So the retiree program we're going to talk about, they're filling open positions that the district can't fill when they should be retired and not working for the district anymore.
Yep.
So those are the things we kind of wanted to lay out and talk about. Before we jump off of this, Kevin, real quick, what are the implications to the retiree program as it relates to cost?
It's quite expensive for the district, well, overall, because the people are coming back at their last salary. So, their highest salary.
Right.
And they're also drawing a pension, which they've earned. That's
Correct.
Anything that doesn't
Right.
cost our district anything. But they are not the same as, hiring somebody that's new.
Yeah. And typically we calculate in when we're bargaining all the teacher retirements, because that's how the district saves money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody retires at a higher salary, they hire a new teacher in at step one on the salary schedule, and they save half of that other teacher's salary.
Yeah.
So it's a big cost when you do this retiree program coming back. Okay, so we outlined a couple of things we're going to talk about. So let's dig right in and let's talk about Kinda-Sorta-Qualified as it relates to subs in the district and the director of recruitment and retention. So where should we start?
So I want to talk about board packets first. So we kind of went through what all the different types of subs are. And I'm going to just kind of explain that all of the people on our school board, went right before the meeting or like leading up to the meeting, they get a packet. And the packet has a report from all of the directors in the department. So they'll get one from like the deputy superintendent. There's a report from truancy and so forth. One of those that they get each month is from Tiffany Pierce, and it lets them know important things about retention and recruitment efforts,
right,
and how many open positions we have at any given time. So I get a copy of all of those as union president. And so that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to go through that report.
Okay, perfect. So why don't we just jump right in and go through it as Kevin, I forgot mine in the studio and Kevin just ran and grabbed mine. So thank you, Kevin, for being my gopher as well as everything else you do for us.
Now, I also want to say about this is what board members receive. And this is what she puts together. We try to be transparent. Like, this is where the report comes from. And so that's what we're basing our facts on, district information.
Absolutely. So we're gonna be looking at the board summary report that she gave to the board for last board meeting. So it would have been the November board meeting. So that's when this report came through.
Yeah.
Kevin, I'm going to take control here so we can do this as we go. So first page is just a summary, Wendy. It kind of talks about what the report is going to show. So I don't know that we need to really go through this. You're going to see all this stuff and we'll call it out as we go through it.
Correct.
All right. So let's see. So the next page, and I apologize, it's sideways, but I'm not sure we can spin it.
So this is a list of all the individuals that were recruited during this month, and it has down September 2025 on the report. So, but it actually, the date, the timestamps on these are all of October.
So these would be who was recruited in October.
Yes, and it has people's names. It has the type of position. It lists if they filled out the application, the position they're applying for, and just different little notes for the board to see if people accepted the offer or whatever. So
what do we notice or find exceptional in this report?
The thing that I found pretty shocking is that we have a lot of openings, but it seems like the majority of the people that we're making offers to are subs. Very few other positions on here.
That's correct. There's only a few licensed again, I'll kind of point this out. The old word used to be certified, now it's licensed, so we use those kind of as the same. There's only a couple on here that are licensed teachers that applied. And what do you notice that they did?
They decline the offers. So when they're offered a position, it usually says, and this is not just this month because I read these, but that they decline the offer.
Yeah. And we've been talking to the district about this for over a year now, about the recruitment and retention issue. We talked with Pierce in the room about what is she actually doing to recruit and retain people. And we gave a bunch of suggestions on what she should be doing. So that's interesting. A lot of these positions are also paraprofessionals, secretary positions, very few actual licensed teachers.
Yes. And I'm looking at some of the comments that are coming in. Mary Jenkins, one of our teachers, she has a comment that says, you should say each month there are many reports not submitted at all. So Tiffany Pierce does submit a report each month, but a lot of these board reports are just missing in general from admin.
Right. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay. So I guess we can move on to the next page. That page just kind of shows what she did in the month of October, and very few certified teachers.
And if we do find when they're declining.
Correct. All right. So what are we looking at next?
So then we get a list of each school, okay, and it breaks down the positions that she believes are open and how many we need. So it'll say like if there's one or two or how many. And
so let me go through it and then I'll ask you for your take on this, okay?
Sure.
Because you're way more familiar with this than I am. So what you're looking at in the first column, sideways, is the high school, okay? So if you look at it, the next column says need, and to me it looks like there's 5 positions on the form that she presented to the Board of Education. There's position names. So you have cross-cat, you have PE teacher, general science, ELA teacher, and CTE business teacher. So a total of 5 teachers. In her report, she says they need.
Yes.
So give me your commentary on what you think.
So I agree that we need those teachers.
Yep.
Okay. Those all seem true, but it seems like there may be more than what's here.
Okay.
So, and maybe there's reasons not to include some of these, but like, for instance, ROTC is not mentioned. We have a permanent sub that I know that's over in one of the ROTC positions. There's something, we have a person over in our TAC building that's at least half-time, and I don't see her reflected in this because I know of the special ed position that's reflected here. So I feel like some of this might not be totally complete.
Yeah, and I think you also mentioned fine arts, maybe.
And that's, jumping to a page further in, I noticed we have permanent people working in fine arts jobs. I don't even know what those are.
Yeah. Okay. So the report from our perspective might be lacking in some pieces. So let's talk about middle school.
Okay.
So in the middle school, it looks like to me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teachers are needed. We have 6th grade ELA. We have 3 social science teachers, 6th, 7th, and 8th. We have a 6th and 7th grade math teacher, 6th grade special ed resource, 7th and 8th grade instructional teacher, and a 6th grade reading teacher.
So these positions, this is kind of heartbreaking to me.
Yeah.
And I've looked at them a couple of times, but when I look at that, like if your child is in middle school in Cahokia, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they could be without social science, a licensed teacher.
Yep.
So that's a lot. But I know that there's also some positions that are filled by subs that are teaching positions that aren't listed here. For instance, an exploration teacher, a character ed teacher, speech. We have a permanent sub that sits with kids while they receive speech through like a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine there's teachers from other districts on our podcast tonight, and I imagine their head is exploding right now looking at these numbers because this doesn't happen or isn't happening that I know of in other districts. All right, so let's move on to the next page. You want to move it, Kevin? So bunch of schools here. Let's just go down the list like we're doing. ESOC, what does ESOC stand for again?
It's the Estelle Soje School of Choice.
School of Choice. Okay. One pre-K teacher, one elementary teacher, second grade, 2 lit assistants, and an 8th grade. Well, I'm not sure what that means, but said 8th grade, then elementary teacher.
So that's a K-8 building.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a pre-K. Right. So yes, there's an 8th grade teacher, and they teach all subjects.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I know that somebody is over there that should be doing speech, and there's a fine arts position there. I also want to mention, Tiffany Pierce, part of her job is retention. The 2nd grade position that somebody left was a difficult position. They did recruit somebody at the beginning of the year. I met her. She joined the union. She was so happy to be there, and she only made it a few days. So sometimes the reality, the support isn't there.
Right. So there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5. You probably say more based on what you said. All right, let's move on to Huffman. Looks like at Huffman we have 2, a PE teacher and a literary assistant teacher.
Yep. Maplewood, we've got a kindergarten position, pre-K teachers, another lit assistant.
So 4 teachers at Maplewood.
Yeah.
ACDC, you want to?
So this one I'm like a little less familiar with. People that are some of our viewers might know this, but I believe that we need more than 1 teacher there. I know of 2 full-time teachers, but I think there are 4 classrooms over there. So I think we have about 4 permanent subs in that building.
Okay. Yeah, that's the interesting thing, is, so I guess the question, and I'm not asking you to answer this, but the question is the report written in a way to hide positions based on permanent subs? I'm not asking you to answer that question. I'm just asking that to go out into the, the internet world.
Yeah.
All right. So E. Morris looks like 1 elementary teacher.
Yes. La Lemire. So we need pre-K. We need a 3rd grade teacher, a special ed teacher, according to this report, 2 kindergarten teachers, and an art and music teacher.
So 6 total at that elementary school.
These are little schools. That's
not awesome. That's awful.
Penniman.
Again, it looks like 4 teachers, a lit assistant, an elementary teacher, a PE teacher, and then an instructional teacher, special ed, it looks like.
And this one also it's listed that there's a permanent sub doing something called fine arts. I don't ever recall that being something that was bid. I don't know what that position is. I have a lot of questions about that, because if it's a teaching position, which is what it kind of seems like, it would either be
right
a para or a teacher. Why are we using a permanent sub and not hiring somebody for that?
I would agree. And then on the district-wide support, these would be positions that support classrooms district-wide. It looks like you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 visual impaired teacher, 1 PT physical therapist, 4 school psychologists. You have 2 on staff, 1 social worker or 2 social workers. 1 is bilingual, and 2 nurses. So it looks like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 total from district-wide support.
So some of the kids who need things the most are not getting the services that they need based on what I'm seeing here. Like, this is, terrible not to have enough school psychologists or not to have enough social workers or to need nurses. And, we've tried talking to them about this, but they don't seem to want to settle the contract to start addressing, why aren't people willing to come to work in Cahokia?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of suggestions on why. when you're on average 18% behind salary, that's a big reason. When you create draconian policies that make people leave, that's another issue. His leadership style, McCall talking about another issue. So there's a lot of reasons why people are leaving and people don't want to come, because, you know, teachers talk, and you know, there's a lot of teachers that know what's going on in Cokia based on other teachers. So,
well, and when you look at this, one of the takeaways also is that you're finding it very, very difficult to find anybody who's willing to work for these wages. So take, for example, nurses. We had to allow them to pay other nurses more money to come into our district because we couldn't find enough. We also have
through an online service, a nursing service program.
With the speech teachers. We lost a lot of our speech teachers. We have one left in the district, and the district is willing to contract out with an agency and let that be done through Zoom, basically,
right,
instead of addressing the issue. We're willing to spend more than we need to on retirees instead of fixing the problem, which is our pay.
Right. It almost makes you wonder, do they really want to fix the problem? You know, because what we're seeing in contract negotiations, it doesn't appear to me, my opinion, that they want to solve the recruitment and retention problem because they want to make things less competitive.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that is frightening to look at all of the openings in her report, and we believe there are more. So that's even worse. Next page, let's talk about the retiree program. As we said, they're retirees from Cokia that they hire back in high needs areas to work the entire school year. So these are open positions that the district can't fill, that they're utilizing retirees at a really higher rate of pay versus a first-year teacher coming in and taking that position. So 11 of them, Wendy?
11 of them, and a couple of them are not Cahokia retirees.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And all of them are much needed. And I want to make, and a lot of them are union members.
Right.
And they're doing a great job. The biggest concern, though, is at some point, the folks that are doing this are not going to want to keep returning forever. And this really, to me, shows our staffing problem is a lot deeper than just at first glance, because these are all positions that really should be filled, that you shouldn't have this kind of trouble filling.
Well, the other thing from a statewide level as well, we may lose the exemption that they have for these high needs areas for teachers to work a whole school year. So the state may solve this problem and these teachers won't be allowed to work a whole school year. So that's another issue.
Well, and look at the subject area on this. I know it's sideways for people, but these are all special, almost 8 of these are special ed jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really important to have special education teachers when kids need them. And in addition to all those open positions that we saw filled by permanent subs, we also have all these additional, in a small district, all these sped openings.
Right. All right. So next page in the report, offer requests submitted to HR. So these are offers that HR would have made to folks. So what do you notice here, Wendy? Anything exceptional here?
Well, they're possibly hiring another retiree, Mr. Dozier. It's on hold for some reason, but we have somebody that was a teacher that declined the offer, and the rest are basically subs.
Right. They like hiring a lot of permanent subs.
Yeah.
And then next page, we're going to go through the permanent substitutes by school. And I'll ask you to point out some things here. So first one is the high school. Quite a few permanent subs.
Yeah. And some of these folks, it's almost kind of did you think it was misleading when you read this? Like it says Demarius Bolds covering the absence of a certified PE teacher. When you first read that, what did you think?
So it sounds to me like there's an actual PE teacher, a licensed teacher, that Demarius is filling in for that person.
And I even kind of thought that for a second until I read a little bit further, and if you look down to Keenan Young,
Uh-huh.
filling in the FMLA absence of a high school teacher, and it lists the teacher
Names, right.
Yeah. So the ones with names, my interpretation is these are teachers that are out, but all these others, they're not filling in for anyone.
Right.
They're just
They're a
filling-
permanent sub in a position because
Mhm.
they can't hire a teacher,
Right.
a licensed teacher to hold that position.
Yeah.
So a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 permanent subs at the high school alone.
Well, and I kind of told a story when we were prepping for this. So I student taught in Cahokia many years ago. And then after I graduated in December, I did some subbing. And I think we used to have maybe 3 permanent subs in the early 2000s when our staff was really big and we had more students. We just didn't have all of these subs. We also had the ability to use sick leave then, so people could take days if they needed them. Now we're not really allowed to take days with all these floaters.
Right. Yeah. So what do the floaters do if they don't have work?
I can't say in all buildings. In my building, I think they stay in the library.
Okay. That's interesting. Let's move on to the middle school. Again, same thing. 13 subs at the middle school level. Again, there's several, 1, 2, 3, 4, covering the absence of a certified 7th grade science teacher. There's 4 of those, science, math, ELA, and special ed. Those aren't actual subs covering for a certified teacher.
Right.
Those are just subs teaching.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting she wrote it that way. Again, it's almost, to me, it looks like it's a way to be deceptive in what you're trying to convey. Or maybe this is her way of communicating. I don't know. Let's go to the next page. ESOC, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there. Anything remarkable here?
No, I mean, I have the fine arts question that I mentioned earlier, but it's sad that we have a 2nd grade classroom without a full-time licensed traditional teacher.
Right. Maplewood Elementary, 6 full-time subs.
Mm-hmm.
Anything?
No, I mean, I have commented before to you that, we have pre-K, we have kindergarten, kids could go from year to year, just depending on how scheduling goes without having a traditional teacher. And again, some of these folks might have the background that you would look for, but you would think they would take on extra pay if they, could fill the
Yeah, I
position.
mean, a permanent sub gets paid less than a first-year teacher. So if I'm a licensed teacher, I have my license to teach, why wouldn't I accept a full-time position to get paid more with
And to get
benefits?
with benefits.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes no sense. So
No.
it almost, to me, seems like they probably don't have the qualifications or else they would. So Huffman Elementary, 5 permanent subs at that elementary school.
Yeah.
E. Morris, 4 permanent subs. What do we have at?
Lalamere has really had a lot of turnover, and so you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8.
8 total there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, covering the absence of a certified teacher. Like it's, I don't know. It just seems interesting. Penniman, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at Penniman.
And 4 at ACDC.
4 at ACDC. That is really, I mean, I don't have words for the amount of permanent subs you have in your district. I mean, I've had this list and I've looked at this list and talked about this list over and over. And when you go through it, building by building, it's a travesty.
Well, and when you think about even where we were 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or where other districts in our area, it's not usual to have these kinds of openings that go year after year, because this isn't a this year problem. That we're just highlighting, where we're at this moment.
Right.
But I've been at Cahokia High School since 2000. I don't ever recall having an ELA, an English position in our department that we couldn't fill
Yeah.
until this year.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, went through that report. What do you say we do the McCalling you out now?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So breaking news, this episode of McCalling you out, we are going to talk about paydays.
Everybody loves payday.
Who doesn't love payday?
Ours have changed, so I don't think anybody loves our paydays now.
So let's give a little background before we get into the McCalling you out.
Okay, so Cahokia always got paid once a month. All of us. The 25th was payday. It's been that way for as long as anybody can remember. And during bargaining, the district asked us to change to twice a month.
Right.
You want to explain why?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, there's a legal reason, but it really isn't a huge issue that we need to go into. I guess all I'll say is that in bargaining, one, we agreed to it, to go from one pay period to 2 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You all kept telling me, we can't do it, we can't do it, we can't do it. And I kept looking at you all and saying, this doesn't make any sense to me. Why can't we do this? And you all kept telling me that they will screw this up. They won't be able to get it right. It will be a problem. People won't get paid. And I finally kind of listened to you guys, but we did agree to it.
We did.
Went from one pay period to 2. We didn't change anything else. We didn't change any intent on when payday would happen. We just basically said 1 to 2, and we listed the dates payday would happen. We listed what would happen if payday was on a weekend or a holiday. That practice has been in place forever and ever and ever, and we basically captured that practice. The attorney wanted to change a few words. He didn't like the way it was written, but there was no intent to change any meaning.
Right.
So now that you have that background, let's fast forward to Thanksgiving week.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Tuesday?
So Cahokia teachers are off the day before Thanksgiving.
Wednesday, right.
Yes. So that is actually our Casimir Pulaski holiday.
Okay.
Okay. So Tuesday would have been our last day. And I was getting ready that morning, racing around, trying to get to work. And I get a text message that says, we didn't get paid. Somebody's looked at their bank account and they didn't get paid. And I said, is it just you?
Right.
Have you talked to anybody else? And this teacher said, yeah, nobody in our building was paid. So I quickly text the officers and say, please check your bank accounts, because I don't want to be somebody that just automatically goes to the superintendent unless I verify, that something's going on. And it seemed that nobody got paid. So I sent a message to Deputy Superintendent Tanya Mitchell and Superintendent Curtis McCall and said, apparently we didn't get paid. And they seemed kind of shocked, like the first response is back.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. McCall said something at the time that said, I think we're scheduled for the 26th, I think is what he said. And I'm in my car by that point, so I don't have anything in front of me, but the word scheduled was the key there. I've never seen a schedule for these, and it didn't even register as anything. But I later learned there was a schedule, and we got paid not on the day that we would normally get paid. We always get paid the day before a holiday.
Right.
So we didn't get paid.
Wednesday was the holiday.
And Wednesday
was Casimir Pulaski Day. Thursday was Thanksgiving holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So, and you called me kind of frantic. We didn't get paid. So what did we decide to do?
Well, we issued a letter to the superintendent, letting him know that we believe that our agreement does not say this, and that we need him to immediately let us know if he agrees and if he is going to honor our longstanding practice and what was talked about at the table.
Yeah, they never sent us or you the schedule. They never sent anything with the pay dates on it, because if you would have had a chance to look at that, you would have raised objection to it and could have had this potentially corrected before you were paid on the wrong day.
Right. And I was very worried that somebody could be going out of town and needed the money for this holiday weekend. I mean, it's an
Right.
expensive thing to cook for people or to travel.
Or, some people schedule direct withdrawals on payday, that kind of thing. So that's a problem as well. So what happened after we sent the letter to the superintendent demanding that we fix this and make it right based on the agreement of the parties?
Sent that letter November 25th. You helped me with it. And this morning, I finally got some response. I've not heard at all from Superintendent McCall, but Deputy Superintendent sent me a response that says received.
That is a big thing with them, with Mitchell, with McCall, and with Belt. They like to respond to emails that we send. Received. That they say received, nothing else. It's one word, received. And then most of the time we don't hear anything back.
No, and I keep track of the receipts. And I will say, 5 days ago, you acknowledged that you received my, question, and I haven't heard back, or 10 days ago, or 30 days ago.
Here's a little something I haven't told you before. The amount of times that I've in emails that, because Mitchell's usually the one that sends emails back, and the amount of times that she's asked us to do something that I've typed received and then didn't send it. I want to do that so bad just to be but I haven't done it yet because it's ridiculous that that's what they do.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in other districts. In other districts, you get a response right away. Other superintendents, other HR people, other assistant superintendents, when I email, I get a response because that's what professionals do. You respond and you deal with issues.
Or you say, I did get this. I'm going to need a little time to look into this for you, but I'll get back to you by the end of the week. And then you do that.
Correct. So we're still waiting to hear. So, for them calling you out, they can't even pay people right. So you all were correct. So I stand corrected. You all were right when you told me they won't get it right. And it didn't take long for that to happen.
Right. And it's going to be a big problem next month because
Christmas holiday.
We always get paid before then. And so hopefully we can get some resolution, but
yeah, sad. Can't even get payday right.
Can't even get payday right.
Really easy. Wonder how many people it takes to mess up payday. Well, that's your calling you out.
Yeah. So let's go back to our main segment, the Kinda-Sorta-Qualified talk. And this time, can we talk more about Tiffany Pierce? Let's
talk about Tiffany Pierce.
Okay.
I am perfectly happy to talk about Tiffany Pierce. As we said, she's the Chief Business Officer, the Director of Recruitment and Retention, former alderwoman. So I think you mentioned she's in charge of recruiting and retaining. That's what the title would say. Let's take a look at the district website and how she recruits and retains on the district website.
Because we have so many open positions. Like,
right.
What does she do to make sure these are getting?
And Kevin, I'm going to take over here just because I'm going to talk through this. So what you're looking at is the home screen from the district website. Now, one would think that if I'm a teacher and I'm looking for a job and I think, oh, I haven't heard anything about Cahokia, and I would love to work at Cahokia with Wendy, I would go to the homepage and I would see this employment tab that has a red arrow, and I would click on that. That would probably be the start of my journey to get a job at Cahokia.
And that's what I did as well, because I walked through this too.
Okay. So you click on the employment tab and it takes you to an application portal.
Okay.
Now, the top arrow says job openings, and then the portal, but then it says no data found, something like that. I can't see it. It's so small on the screen. So you click on employment, takes you to a portal where you should apply for a job, and there's nothing there.
I was unable to apply for a job. So I tried using some of the fields to search for open positions.
Uh-huh.
I tried typing in words that I thought would connect with an opening, and I was unable. Not saying that there's not a way to do it, but I could not figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it says no records to display, and at the top it says view job postings, and this is the application portal. So she's not doing very well at recruiting and retaining folks with having a website where you can't even apply.
So one of our viewers has written in that when they applied, it took weeks and multiple emails to find anyone to look at my application.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So we didn't stop there, though.
No, we kept looking. We kept thinking, well, maybe we just missed it.
Right. So we went back to the homepage. We went to departments at the top. There's a pull down. So you go to departments, and then you search through as a new applicant all of these different departments, right? You might think I go to human resources. Nope, it's not there. You got to go to recruitment and retention. And if you click on recruitment and retention, where does it take you?
So you get a page that gives you the vision statement, which reads, the vision of the Recruitment and Retention Department of Cahokia Unit School District 187 is to enhance teaching and learning by sourcing, recruiting, and retaining diverse, highly qualified educators. And it lists their employees. And then down at the bottom, it says hiring needs. So there is a place that you could click open certified teaching positions.
Okay. But before we get to that, I want to talk about this vision statement a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, do you think Tiffany Pierce has ever read this vision statement? Because if she has, she is failing miserably at her job, according to this vision statement. I mean, you couldn't be if this was one of our people, they would be fired.
Right.
And they would have been fired years ago, period. Point blank, they would have been gone.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. So we go to hiring needs. It says open certified teaching positions. If you click on that.
And by the way, don't you think this is a long way to go to even find this?
Yeah, I mean, my ADD would have kicked in, and I would have applied at Belleville, Fallon, St. Louis, wherever.
Okay, but you click on it.
So you click on it, and you get a PDF. This is really interesting. A PDF that, if you look at the top, and it kind of cut it off, Kevin, but if the top, when you click on the PDF, it says hiring flyer for September of 2024. So this flyer is from a year ago. So Tiffany Pierce, recruitment and retention director, has a secretary, and they have a flyer on the website when they have all these permanent subs, open positions. They have a flyer that's over a year old.
And there's no way to click. I mean, this isn't like a place that you could apply for anything. You would just have to notice there's an email down below or a phone number.
Right.
So, which you could have put, if that's how you want people to apply, which seems kind of out of date, but like, you could have just put that someplace really prominent on the front page.
Well, you know what? I just may have solved the hiring problem in Cahokia.
You might have.
If they email, and who's the email to? The email is to Tiffany Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
If they email her, maybe she just responds received.
Maybe.
And doesn't ever get back with people. Okay, so September 24 is a problem, though. You know, a lot of these positions, if you cross-reference, these aren't even. There's a ton of positions that aren't on here, so it's problematic. So why don't we talk about Tiffany Pierce salary?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Kevin, why don't you pull up her graphic? So Tiffany Pierce, and we'll go through this. It's a 5-year progression. In 1920, she's the director of recruitment and retention, and she's earning $75,000 a year.
In 2021, she's also the director, and it goes up to $77,312.
21-22, Director of Recruitment and Retention again, and she gets a pretty good bump, $87,000, another $10,000 increase.
Right. In 22-23 goes up to 99,000.
Same title, Director of Recruitment and Retention. Meanwhile, open positions are going up, permanent subs are going up, and the director that's supposed to be solving this problem, her salary is going up.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. 23-24, it looks like they gave her a promotion.
Yes.
So they gave her now a new title because they like to hand these out like candy titles. The CBO, Chief Business Officer, and the Director of Recruitment and Retention. Her salary stayed flat, but that, again, we talked about this in another episode. Everyone's salary stayed flat that year based on the contract negotiations. What did her salary do in 24-25?
So now it's $104,227.
Okay. So 5-year total. What, Kevin, pull up the salary increase. So in 5 years, Wendy, her salary went up almost $30,000, and she got a 40% increase over 5 years.
Yeah.
So performance shows you can't recruit and retain people.
Mm-hmm.
Performance shows there's more permanent subs than there ever was. Students in Cahokia are getting not licensed teachers in a lot of cases, but yet the director and CBO is getting big raises, 40% over 5 years.
Yeah.
Why do, and I don't want you to answer this, but what else do we know about Tiffany Pierce? And we're going to show something here that may shine some light on this, but what else do we know? We know that just like others in the district, and this is super uncommon, and I've said this before and I'll say it again here in a minute. These are Tiffany Pierce's political contributions that she's made over the years. And when you look at these, they go back to 2015. She made a $200 donation to Citizens for Curtis L. McCall.
Yeah.
That is the mayor, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we get another one in 2016 for $300, also to Citizens for Curtis McCall.
Right. And then in 2018, another $300, Centerville Township Citizens for Better Government.
Are you looking at the received date or the report? Which one?
I mean, yeah, I'm looking at the received date, but
I just want to make sure I'm consistent.
Yeah.
So we get one in 2020 then for $300, and this is Centerville Township.
Yep. 21, Centerville Township again for $300.
Then in 2023, $1,200 to Curtis McCall.
Yep. And then in 23 again, $1,500 for Curtis L. McCall.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened in 23? She got a pretty good pay raise.
Yeah. That's
interesting. So that is really, really uncommon. And I've actually, you and I talk about going down rabbit holes. I've actually looked up administrators' names in the State Board of Elections website from other districts to see, is anyone else donating to mayoral races, candidates in their town? And I couldn't find one.
Wow.
In 187, there is a lot, and we're going to continue to show who's giving, who's getting raises, who's getting promotions and positions, and we're going to continue to show the political contributions that they're making. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Well, we're about 50 minutes in. We're a little long, but it took a while to get through that. So that is your main segment of Kinda-Sorta-Qualified.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot there to uncover.
And I think that it's stuff that people don't know because you don't have access to the building reports or
Right.
how many subs. So I think this was an important story to tell.
Okay. Let's try something new. What do you think?
I'm really looking forward to this section.
Okay. In the spirit of Thanksgiving that we just had and being thankful, you know, we're going to do a short new segment, and we're going to write out some personal thank you notes on air live, Jimmy Fallon style.
Yeah.
He does a segment, and we're kind of ripping his segment off, and we're going to do it CFT live kind of flair.
And I'm going to try not to laugh, but I'm already wanting to laugh.
You are going to laugh. It's going to be funny. So if anyone has seen this, this is where it's coming from. So actually, I will say this too, that Kevin lugged his keyboard in, and he's going to play us some thank you notes.
I didn't know he could play.
Well,
he's beautiful.
Yes. He gave us a sample of his music earlier, and
it's really nice.
So Kevin, can I get some thank you note music, please? He does play that well, doesn't he?
Beautiful.
All right.
I hope they can hear it.
Oh, they can't. Yeah. Well, you ready?
Yes.
Thank you, Superintendent McCall, for proposing a 12-step weekly lesson plan requirement, because nothing says we trust our teachers quite like turning every lesson into an educational version of something IKEA furniture, but with fewer pictures and way more steps. I'm gonna send that way to me.
Okay, my turn. Thank you for helping us discover that apparently planning a lesson isn't enough. Now it needs objectives, sub-objectives, minute-by-minute breakdowns, 3 forms of differentiation, a partridge, or tree, all due Friday at 3 p.m.
That was kind of their proposal. Thank you for nepotism, for showing us that family connections are apparently the real key to career advancement, because nothing says merit-based like a last name of McCall or Belt. Gliding across the roster like, are you stopping playing music? It's hard to get good now. Like the last name of McCall or Belt, gliding across the roster like ice skaters on a frozen pond.
Thank you, Administrative Promotions, for turning the central office into a VIP club where the secret password is, I know McCall.
I thought you were going to whisper that one.
I was afraid they wouldn't hear me.
Oh, okay. All right. My last one. Why does he stop playing the
Because
music when I
people
go?
are saying they can't understand us over the music.
You can't? All right. Well, that's a bummer. I guess stop playing the music, Kevin. All right. Thank you, phony made-up job titles, for reminding us that creativity in HR can sometimes mean inventing positions that no one really knows the purpose of, including themselves.
This one's kind of long. Thank you, Central Office Administration, who reply received to every email, for adding a little extra holiday magic to our inbox. Because nothing says Christmas cheer like turning every simple question about benefits, payroll, paperwork, policies, and why our forms need forms into a festive mystery adventure with absolutely no clues, no answers, and all the suspense of waiting to see if Santa actually read your letter. Merry received miss.
That's a good one.
Okay, and now I get to do one more.
Okay, one more.
Okay. And finally, thank you to the hardworking teachers and staff for proving that even when the district's leadership acts like the island of misfit toys, you're the ones keeping the sleigh in the air.
Yeah, so thank you.
For real.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Even if they couldn't hear us. we got a laugh out of it.
Yeah, because we have to laugh. We have to sometimes make jokes because this is heavy stuff. And
it is. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about what we have coming up before we close this out. We're going to make the 1 hour mark. We're going to make it.
Okay, so board meeting December 8th. We need everyone there, 6:30. When we know the location, we'll advertise that.
Yep. We're also, Wendy's going to be visiting schools. I'm going to try to make some of them with her. When are you going to do that?
I'm going to schedule it individually with building reps.
Okay.
But yeah, this month I want to try to get out to as many work sites as I possibly can to answer questions and just communicate about where we're at.
Yep. So that'll be good. Get to talk to members.
Yeah.
That's always good. All right. So parting thoughts. What do you have?
So we've covered a lot of different topics in the 9 episodes, but I feel like this one is probably closest to our members' hearts. It matters the most to all of us. And, every dollar that they spend on a position that we don't need is a dollar that is taken away from some child's education. It could be spent differently. Every position that is open or that isn't filled with the best candidate, it impacts somebody's child, a kid's chance for a better future. Somebody's, kid is in these rooms where maybe they're not getting everything that they should. And so, for members who feel like this fight seems long, we know that our union is strong and that we're going to keep standing up for what is right. It is a long fight, but we're stubborn. We're fed up with this. We're not giving up. School board, I told them at the last meeting that they needed to think about their legacy because they get this report. The report that we just went through, they get that every month. They know the real impact of this and they need to do better for our kids.
Yeah, I agree. Before I give my parting thoughts, let's talk about the next show real quick. Let's show the teaser for the next show. Next show, Wednesday, December 10th, Wendy, episode 10. And that is the right number. I had it messed up at the beginning of the show. The title is The Heights Hustle, Who Really Runs 187.
Okay.
So should be a fun show. Looking forward to episode 10 next week. It's crazy. We're already on episode 10. Yeah. Actually 11 because we did the half show. We did the pop-up show. So it's actually episode 11, but we're calling it 10. So, so for my parting thoughts, I didn't plan anything again. You've done such a good job at parting thoughts the last couple of weeks. I just want to echo everything you said. It's a shame what the students and kids of Koki are losing out on because you have a school board that is bought and paid for, that they will do anything that the powers to be ask them to do. They don't take into account how their decisions to hire unqualified people into high-paying positions affects students. They don't take into account how hiring friends and relatives takes away from students. They don't take into account how 50, 60, 70, 80 permanent subs impact students' daily lives and their learning, how it sets kids behind going into college and for the rest of their life. They're more concerned with what they're getting out of this than doing right by the student. Local government, and I'm talking city council, I'm talking school board, is one of the most democratic forms of government. It's where you can make the most impact versus being in Washington, D.C. or in Illinois. You can see your impact daily on lives, good or bad. And they are impacting students in a very bad, negative way. And it's sad to see. And that's why we're fighting. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. And that's why we're going to continue to do what we're doing. So we're coming. Buckle up, Junior.